What a run for John Florence. Now world number 2 on the Jeep leaderboard for the first time in his career. He's going to surf in his first final here at the J-Bay Open, and he had to do it in creative ways. Unlike Mick, Mick won his round 1 heat. John had to deal with round 2, but he kept building on his totals and winning in different ways. He can pick off stretched out J-Bay lines. He's getting barreled in the early stages of this contest and showing his lethal air game.
Well, yeah, you're right. Exactly that. You mentioned that he was able to do it in all different types of ways. He used the innovation and progression. He obviously used his barrel riding skills, which he has honed on the North Shore. And, you know, he used that, his rail game. I mean, and so that's why he's considered one of the best in the world, because he is so versatile in all types of conditions. Even in giant surf, he can win the Eddie Cow. He can win in small Brazil-type beach break conditions. He's so well-rounded that's why he is basically the favorite and touted as one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world right now.
So dangerous in the jersey this season, working with different coaches from every single stop on tour. Took out Alex Ribeiro in round 2, 17.27 combined heat total. Had that all-star round 4 matchup with Josh Kerr and Jordy Smith. One he really wanted to win. He was able to skip to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and it's just being able to pull out the move or the wave necessary to take that win, you know, and the conditions were varying throughout. He had the offshore conditions and bigger in those early morning heats where he found the barrel, you know, and then these kind of, you know, glassy with a little bit of wind on the face, very, very performance orientated. Again, pulled out the aerial moves, the innovation and progression part of that criteria. But again, just this is a competitive John Florence, you know, and you can see there's times when he generally wouldn't have held back, but able to just do his, you know, he's having confidence in his aerial game, I mean, but also in his rail game. And that's the part that he's been able to, you know, holding back John Florence really isn't necessarily something that is, you know, it doesn't look like he's holding back. And he knows that now. I think that that's something that he's had to be able to instill in his competitive hat that he's been wearing this year.
Interesting watching Florence win in different ways, rewarded for single moves above the lip here at Jeffreys Bay, putting him in positions to come back from tough totals. There was that heat with Jordy Smith where he survived with a 3-range score. Oftentimes we'd see John sometimes upset early. He'd always make the highlight reel at events over the last few seasons, but making heats in different ways. You can see his head starting to really work when the conditions get really tough.
Well, that and getting the breaks too. You know, I think that sometimes that has to happen for you. You know, those close ones go your way, and it helps you to keep the momentum flowing, and also that's your confidence to go, yeah, you know what, I had that close one, I'm not going to let it happen again. And he hasn't. You know, he's been in form today. You know, his approach has been very consistent throughout this entire event. He's been showing up every morning. We show up here for Dawn Patrol, and who do we see in the dark trotting up the sand? John Florence, you know, and he's going out there whether there's a wave out there or not. He doesn't even know if there's a wave out there because it's dark by the time he gets to the point. So he's just making that effort to show up every morning and get that consistent. He's out there every evening. So that consistently plays out in his approach in his pre-event. It's very almost Fanning-esque in a way, because we used to see Mick Fanning doing that each and every morning out there in the dark no matter what. Even if it's onshore, if it's raining, or if it's even flat, he's still out there putting in the time.
His lines are unique and creative. You can't repeat these lines that John Florence lays down at Jeffreys Bay. He's got a new school, fresh approach, and the Hawaiian doesn't have the experience as Mick Fanning in a jersey out here, but he's been coming down here since he was just a little kid to compete, turning in his first final appearance, taking out Jordy Smith. That was the one heat we ran about a week ago in really tough conditions. How do you like his form today on finals day, Pete?
Well, it's exactly what we would expect from him. You know, again, getting creative in the way that he's doing his maneuvers and also his wave choice. He's being patient. I think that sometimes would have been an Achilles for John in his previous years on tour. Getting to, you know, just putting too much effort on just his surfing, and now looking at getting high quality waves. I think that's really important when you're at this level, especially when you're against a guy like Mick Fanning. You got to be on the best waves. You got to be on better waves than Mick, because Mick ain't going to make mistakes, and he's going to be on good waves.
Well, this is a heavy scenario for Matt Wilkinson, still world number 1, knocked out early in this contest. As you think about John's momentum this season on the Jeep leaderboard, he's now number 2 in the world. Opened up with a pretty solid performance on the Gold Coast, earning a quarterfinal appearance, then had a couple of tough results. Back-to-back 13s, courtesy of rookie Caio Abelli, knocking him out early with tough priority mistakes from Florence. He recovered into a huge win over Jack Freestone at the Oirio Pro, an event he's won 2 times in his career. Knocked out of the Fiji Pro by Matt Wilkinson when John was the favorite to win in those conditions. Now taking advantage of the early exit of Wilco when Wilco was expected to do well here at the J-Bay Open. That's what makes this world title race so exciting, because you have no idea what's going to happen on a given moment.
It's the year, right? I mean, we've seen all sorts of weird stuff happen. So that's why we keep being drawn to this entire season and to this entire year, this event especially. I mean, if John were to take a win here, he is literally nipping on the heels of Matt Wilkinson going into Fiji, which again, we would think favors John for sure because of the skills that he has in the barrel.
Remember, 10,000 points on the line for a big win here at the J-Bay Open. But remember, John is battling against one of the best J-Bay surfers ever, Mick Fanning, into his 4th straight final here at Jeffreys Bay.